Look at this document. Right there at the top, it says, "We the People." The signing of the United States Constitution in 1787 is widely taught as the birth of the world's oldest continuous democracy. Except that timeline doesn't actually hold up. The true architects of modern representative government weren't sitting in a room in Philadelphia. They were the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. This timeline shows the creation of the U.S. Constitution in 1787, but slide all the way back to 1142 and you find the establishment of the Gaya-Nessagoa, or the Great Law of Peace, uniting 5 indigenous nations centuries before the United States even existed. Often reduced in textbooks to the French word Iroquois, or treated merely as secondary players in colonial wars, the Haudenosaunee operated a governing body that balanced the interests of multiple sovereign nations through established constitutional law. Curious. This raises a question. How a pre-colonial indigenous alliance built a political framework so balanced that it would later provide the scaffolding for the nation that eventually displaced them? Centuries ago, during a period of intense internal warfare and bloodshed, a figure known as the Peacemaker approached 5 warring nations. He delivered a system to unite them under the principles of peace, equity, and justice. This map shows the territorial spread of these sovereign nations across what is now New York State. They structured their alliance geographically, like a massive, single longhouse stretching across the land. At the far edges of this map, specific nations held distinct defensive roles. The Mohawk protected the boundaries as the keepers of the eastern door, while the Seneca and Cayuga served as keepers of the western door. Right in the middle sat the Onondaga Nation. They were the keepers of the central fire, acting as the political capital for this newly unified structure. This longhouse framework allowed 5, and eventually 6, distinct nations to maintain their unique languages and identities while operating collectively as a single power on the global stage. This flag displays the Hiawatha Belt, a symbol of the Haudenosaunee Grand Council, where chiefs from every nation gather to legislate and resolve common causes. Unlike the European systems forming across the Atlantic, the Haudenosaunee structured their society as inherently matrilineal and matriarchal. In this system, no single person owns land, but the Creator appointed women as its stewards. Children belong entirely to their mother's extended family group, or clan, and gain their social status exclusively through her line. This social structure directly fed into their political mechanics. The elder women of each group, known as clan mothers, operate as a systemic high court. They hold the authority to select and appoint the male chiefs. If a leader does not prove sound or becomes corrupt, the clan mothers hold the authority to strip him of his title. This physical belt of purple and white beads is the 2-row wampum. Instead of written European contracts, the Haudenosaunee used these belts and strict oral tradition to record foreign policy, treating with incoming Dutch traders on equal sovereign terms. By placing their ultimate political checks and balances in the hands of women, the Haudenosaunee bypassed the hereditary monarchies that dominated Europe for centuries. When American leaders like Benjamin Franklin searched for a way to structure their newly independent nation, they directly studied the mechanics of the Haudenosaunee Grand Council. Looking at this structural comparison, you can see direct structural parallels to the U.S. government. They adopted the Federated Republic model. They divided their council into elder and younger brothers, mirroring the bicameral U.S. Congress, and applied a similar system of checks and balances. Yet during the American Revolution, conflicting views on how to handle the British fractured the League. Following the war, both the British and the newly formed Americans seized millions of acres of Haudenosaunee territory without consultation or equivalent compensation. The United States adopted many of the mechanics of the Haudenosaunee government, while simultaneously displacing the very architects of that system. Look at this man. The Haudenosaunee are not a relic of the past. They define themselves as Ongwe, which translates to real human beings. Today, they live and thrive as a unified people on their own sovereign territories, actively preserving their distinct languages, their clan systems, and the Grand Council. Their philosophy of governance suggests that true freedom relies on peace, equity, and what they call the collective power of the good minds, rather than rugged individualism. The world's oldest continuous democracy is a living philosophy of mutual support,